In November 1970, a family hiking near Bergen, Norway, stumbled upon a scene that would initiate one of Europe's most enigmatic unsolved mysteries. Deep within a remote valley known as Isdalen, a woman lay deceased amidst the rugged rocks and cold landscape. Her face, tragically, was severely burned, rendering her identity almost entirely erased. What puzzled investigators from the outset was how thoroughly every potential clue to her real name had been meticulously removed or destroyed. It was as if someone had deliberately orchestrated her disappearance from the public record, leaving behind only unanswered questions for the world. Isdalen, the name of this secluded valley, translates directly to Ice Valley. However, among the locals, it carried a more somber nickname, Death Valley, a reputation earned from a history of reported accidents and suicides within its unforgiving terrain. Yet, the circumstances surrounding this woman's death were strikingly different from previous incidents. She was not dressed in typical hiking attire, and the immediate vicinity of her body presented a collection of anomalies that defied simple explanation. From the very first hours of the investigation, authorities recognized they were confronting a case meticulously designed to obscure the truth. Around the body, investigators found a collection of perplexing items. These included an empty bottle of liquor, 2 plastic water bottles, and an umbrella, unusual companions for a solitary hike. There was also a watch, jewelry, and a curious assortment of burned paper fragments. Each object presented more questions than answers. Some items seemed mundane, yet others felt deliberately placed or stripped of their original context. The scene suggested a methodical, almost ritualistic removal of identifying elements, raising immediate suspicion that this was no ordinary tragedy. Most disturbing of all was the deliberate destruction of any potential identifying marks. Labels had been cut out of her clothing. Passports, wallets, and any form of identification were conspicuously absent. Even the prescription label on a bottle of medication found nearby had been carefully removed. It was a painstaking effort to erase a life, making it nearly impossible for police to trace her origin or next of kin. This level of premeditation suggested a person with a profound need for anonymity, or perhaps, someone who had been made to disappear. A few days after the discovery of the body, police located 2 large suitcases at Bergen railway station's left luggage office. A clerk remembered a woman matching the description of the Isdal woman storing them. This was a crucial lead, a potential key to unlocking her identity. The suitcases, old and worn, hinted at extensive travel, but their contents would soon deepen the mystery even further. These weren't just luggage, they were carefully curated repositories of a hidden life, designed to both equip and obscure. Inside the suitcases, investigators discovered an array of bewildering items. There were multiple wigs, various sets of makeup, different styles of clothing and shoes, foreign coins from several countries, maps, and train timetables. But just like the items found with the body, almost every identifying label had been meticulously cut out. This woman traveled with disguises and resources, yet left no direct link to her true self. The sheer effort put into stripping these items of identity was staggering, painting a picture of a person living a meticulously compartmentalized existence. With the discovery of the suitcases, police could trace the woman's movements through Norway. They found she had used at least 8 different aliases, each with a different name, date of birth, and occupation. She often claimed to be Belgian or a traveling saleswoman and consistently paid in cash. These aliases, carefully crafted on hotel registration forms, were her shield, allowing her to move through hotels across the country and parts of Europe, always leaving behind a false trail. The consistency of her deception was remarkable, indicating experience and a clear purpose. Her travel patterns were equally perplexing. The Isdal woman moved frequently, often checking into one hotel, then quickly changing to another nearby. She would spend only a few days in each location, creating a fragmented itinerary that was incredibly difficult to piece together. This constant motion, combined with her cash payments and false identities, made her a ghost in transit. She seemed adept at blending in, yet also at ensuring no single location held enough information to fully identify her. She was a professional at being unknown. The last confirmed period of her life centers around her final days in Bergen. She checked into the Hotel Horteheimen using the alias Fenella Lorch. Staff recalled her as a reserved, alert woman who kept to herself. She ate in the dining room but rarely conversed. On November 23, 1970, she checked out, paid in cash, and asked the hotel porter to call a taxi. Her request was specific: she wanted a taxi from the north side of the hotel. After she stepped into that taxi, the clear trail of the Isdal Woman effectively vanished, only to reappear tragically days later. The subsequent autopsy revealed several critical details about her death. Inside her stomach, traces of about 50 phenomenal sleeping pills were found, suggesting she had consumed a significant dose. Her lungs showed signs of carbon monoxide poisoning, and there was soot in her windpipe, indicating she was alive when exposed to fire. Crucially, tests showed a unique protein in her blood, indicating she had eaten a meal of Japanese food, likely sushi, shortly before her death. This specific detail offered a potential, yet still elusive, clue to her final hours. Despite these findings, the official explanation of likely suicide was never fully accepted by all investigators or the public. The combination of sleeping pills, carbon monoxide, and a meticulously staged scene left too many questions. There were unexplained bruises on her neck and forehead, and the location of her body in the remote valley raised doubts about how she could have reached it alone in her presumed drugged state. The extensive efforts to erase her identity also seemed disproportionate for a simple suicide, creating a narrative that felt incomplete and deeply unsettling. Because this enigmatic death occurred in 1970, during the height of the Cold War, one prominent theory has persistently lingered: espionage. Norway, a NATO member, was a strategically important country, and Bergen itself was a key naval port. The period saw intense clandestine activities across Europe. The Isdal Woman's secretive movements, her multiple aliases, and the meticulous removal of identifying labels from her belongings aligned uncannily with the operational procedures of intelligence agents. It raised the unsettling possibility that her life and death were entwined with global power struggles. Proponents of the spy theory point to specific coincidences. Her travels reportedly overlapped with several sensitive military zones in Norway, including areas near missile testing sites. The use of wigs, the payment in cash, and her apparent proficiency in multiple languages, confirmed by hotel staff, are all hallmarks of trained intelligence operatives. The burned papers near her body, some containing what looked like coded messages, further fueled these suspicions. While no public proof has ever confirmed she was a spy, the evidence certainly created a compelling, albeit speculative, narrative. Of course, espionage is not the only alternative to the suicide theory. Other possibilities, though less dramatic, remain entirely plausible. She might have been involved in some form of illegal activity, perhaps smuggling or another clandestine enterprise, necessitating her use of false identities. Alternatively, she may have been hiding from someone, a dangerous individual or organization, using her aliases and constant movement as a means of evading pursuit. Her need for anonymity could stem from a deeply personal, rather than geopolitical, reason. Some theories suggest that even if it was suicide, the meticulous effort to erase her identity was part of the act itself, a final, deliberate disappearance from the world without a name. Perhaps she was determined that her past would remain forever buried with her. The bruises could be from a fall, or a struggle before her final act. Yet, the question of whether a person, heavily sedated and disoriented, could orchestrate such a complex scene alone in a remote valley continues to challenge investigators, leaving the circumstances of her death deeply ambiguous. Decades later, in 2016, the case was reopened with new forensic techniques. Analysis of her teeth, specifically isotopes of strontium, oxygen, and carbon, provided groundbreaking insights into her origins. These isotopes, absorbed from food and water during childhood, indicated she likely grew up in or near southern Germany, possibly moving to France or a French-speaking region in her early adult life. Her distinctive handwriting also offered clues, suggesting specialized training, perhaps in cryptography, reinforcing the lingering spy theories. These modern scientific advancements gave her a region, but still no name. More than 50 years later, the Isdal Woman remains a profound question without a face or a name. She crossed borders, changed identities, erased labels, and ultimately met her end in a valley known for death. Perhaps she was a spy, a Cold War operative whose mission ended fatally. Perhaps she was running from a dangerous past, meticulously crafting a new existence that ultimately failed. Or perhaps, in a final act of will, she deliberately chose to disappear entirely, taking her true name and story with her into the silent, cold earth of Isdalen. The answers lie buried with her, an enduring mystery.